north to south, east to west, the British Isles boasts a rich and exciting history, diverse cultures and spectacular scenery. You can discover these many destinations on our 15-day British Isles Explorer journey from Bergen to London, or on some of our special pre- and post-journey extensions. From remote Scottish islands and graceful Edinburgh to Ireland's vibrant cities of Belfast and Dublin. From beautiful Snowdonia in Wales to historic Liverpool and Dover, the British Isles is a journey that is guaranteed to inspire all travellers. There are many fascinating experiences to enjoy on a journey around the British Isles. Follow along as I explore our top 10 favourite British Isle experiences. The wind-swept Shetland Islands, where the Atlantic Ocean collides with the North Sea, is home to some unique and fascinating characters.
I was born and bred in the house that I'm still in, and I've stayed in Shetland all my life.
Carol Fuller is a wrangler and breeder whose family has long loved the island's iconic residents.
There have been 3 generations that's had the Shetland ponies. They're part of my life.
While the Shetland pony dates to the Bronze Age, it was primarily breeding with Duelle ponies brought by the Vikings that created the sprightly breed we see today.
Oh, their spirits is pretty high. They have high spirits. Everyone has a different personality. They're a big white one. She always stands with her head up, lugs up, and ears up and everything. See me.
Though the hardy Shetland pony has long thrived here, its life has rarely been easy.
When I was young, the ponies wasn't for fun, they were work horses. All the craft work was done on the ponies, there were no tractors. They did the carting in the hay, carting in the corn, ploughing the rigs, everything was done on a pony.
And in 1847, when the British banned children from the coal mines, the tough Shetland pony went to work underground. For years they were in constant demand, since these resilient, sure-footed wonders could move loads of coal up to 3,000 miles a year.
They were usually down 2 weeks and up 2 weeks. The ponies was treated very well, and they say the ponies was treated much better than the men.
In such a spacious, relaxed setting, one could easily assume that raising the highly intelligent, extremely patient Shetland pony would be a piece of cake. I was quickly assured that was not the case.
No. You must be good to them. You have to be good to them. But you have to make sure that they know you're the boss. It's just like a dog.
Much like an artist who hates to part with their paintings, Carol often holds on to her ponies. They stay and become part of the family.
At one point, I had 6 generations. If they go from me as a foal, they go to some other body. But if they live past a year old, they're aside me for their life. My oldest mare was 35. She was a good old lady. She was a very good old lady.
One thing's for sure, Shetlands are highly addictive. They even hooked Queen Elizabeth, who rode them throughout her childhood. While these precocious ponies top out at only 42 inches, don't let their diminutive stature fool you. Pound for pound, they're actually the strongest of the horse family, able to pull twice their body weight. And one thing they're certainly not short of is personality.
I always say they're like the weather clock. Whichever way the wind is coming from, you'll always see them standing with their rear ends to the wind.
I hope you too will do as I did and pay a visit to Carol and her ponies in the remarkable Shetland Islands. Explore the Shetland Islands on Viking's 15-day British Isles Explorer journey. In the 8th century, Scotland's rugged Orkney Islands were coveted by the Vikings. The vast, fertile lands and easy access to Britain ultimately proved irresistible, and the archipelago fell under Norse control for nearly 600 years. While the Vikings have long since vanished, part of their culture remains, including language, like the name Orkney, shortened from the Viking original, Orkneyjar. Perhaps the best-known area of the Orkneys is Scapa Flow, where the calm surface of this waterway belies its turbulent past. It was here at the end of World War I that more than 50 German warships were scuttled by their own sailors. Tragedy struck again in 1939, when the British warship Royal Oak was torpedoed and sunk. Today, only the block ships remain, silent witnesses to the tragedies that unfolded in these waters. One of the Orkney's more unusual sights is a tiny chapel built by Italian prisoners of war. Using ingenuity and imagination, they transformed a corrugated steel building, plus whatever scraps they could find, into a sacred work of art. In the heart of Kirkwall lies another treasure, the Cathedral of St. Magnus. Built by the Norse Earls of Orkney nearly 900 years ago, it holds the unusual distinction of being owned by the city rather than the church, and of possessing its own dungeon. The Orkneys also have remnants of long-lost civilizations. The Ring of Brodgar and the standing stones of Stenness start the imagination running. These Neolithic monuments may be the oldest in the British Isles, dating back to approximately 2500 BC. And along the coast, the settlement at Skara Brae is older still. It's the best preserved Neolithic village in Western Europe and offers a fascinating window into the past. Scotland's remarkable Orkney Islands present an extraordinary tapestry of natural and cultural wonders. I hope you too will do what I did and explore the heart of this archipelago for yourself. Explore the Orkney Islands on Viking's 15-day British Isles Explorer journey. Sir Winston Churchill. The name towers over Britain's history like a fortress. Follow in the footsteps of this revered and somewhat controversial statesman, and learn about the life that shaped him. London is filled with important sites relating to Sir Winston Churchill, and you'll see all of them staying in the heart of London. The government buildings of Westminster, 10 Downing Street, where Churchill slept in a bunkered annex during the war, St. Margaret's Church, where he married his beloved Clementine, the home where he passed away at age 90, and St. Paul's Cathedral, where his life was commemorated in a funeral befitting a king. Step into the Cabinet War Rooms after hours with Vikings' privileged access. Explore historic artefacts and personal memorabilia. And in the underground bunker of the Harmsworth Room, imagine the switches and dials in motion as operators connected Churchill from the secret transatlantic telephone room to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, so the two men could plot their strategy against the Nazis. Beyond the city, it's off to Chartwell. the Churchill family home in the scenic Kent countryside, and Sir Winston's private retreat from the world. Stroll the expansive estate, the gardens he designed, and where he embraced the serenity of painting. Majestic Blenheim Palace, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was Churchill's birthplace. You'll be warmly welcomed and enjoy further privileged access to people connected to Churchill. Nearby, visit Churchill's final resting place at St. Martin's Church in the village of Bladen. At the formerly top-secret Bletchley Park site, learn more about one of the most significant episodes of the war, when Alan Turing and his team of scientists broke the German Enigma code. Look upon Turing's legendary code-breaking machine, a device that hastened the defeat of the Nazis. Churchill's Britain is a fascinating 5-day, fully escorted immersion into the life of one of England's most notable statesmen. That also includes memorable private dinners, palace lunches, and much, much more. It's a rare opportunity to uncover the real Sir Winston Churchill, one of the most powerful men in British history. Visit the Imperial War Museum on Viking's 5-night Churchill's Britain extension. A rare treasure in the UK is Chavenage House. Located near Tetbury, pretty precisely midfield between the homes of His Royal Highness Prince Charles and Her Royal Highness Princess Anne, you may better know Chavenage as Trenwith in the popular TV series Poldark. While you might think having a historic home is glamorous, the Loseley-Williams family, who've owned Chavenage for generations, can tell you it's anything but. It takes a lot of hard work to pay the taxes and fix the leaks. When we visit, they actually put my friends and I to work. But they're fun people who also make what I think is the world's best homemade marmalade. And coincidentally, they're also Vikings, which we only recently discovered when I took a good look at Patriarch David's hands. Your dad is not only a Viking on the right-hand side, he's a Viking on the left-hand side as well. Can you see this? This is the Dupuytren contraction.
We all got it then. It does.
Do you all have it? It is a bloodless test that proves if you have this contraction, you have the Viking gene. These are some of the most fun, genuine people I've ever come across. And they are the biggest reason Chavenage will always have a special place in my heart, and most probably also anyone else's who has the privilege to visit them. Visit Chavenage House on Viking's 4-night Great Homes, Gardens and Gin extension. In the period drama Downton Abbey, this imposing castle and way of life was kept alive by the wealth of an American heiress. A story of marriage and status that actually played out many times in real life. Over a period of 30 years, more than $20 billion in today's money came shuttling across the Atlantic to prop up Britain's aristocracies and their stately homes. The estate is in reality Highclere Castle, and its history is equally compelling, as it too was rescued by English heiress Almina Wombwell.
Lady Almina came here as a young 19-year-old bride in 1895. She was the daughter of Alfred de Rothschild. She was actually illegitimate and married Geordie's great-grandfather. She then acquired immediately a wonderful place in society. Really, her inheritance, which she brought here, is terribly important to the family, and it means we're still here today.
Much as in the television series, the world at Highclere Castle changed abruptly with the onset of World War I, and Lady Almina stepped forward, committing the estate to help support the war effort.
She turned Highclere into a hospital. She took in patients, officers who were wounded in the Somme in Gallipoli.
Including officers from the Royal Flying Corps, with the early aircraft who had broken bones but survived crashing.
She made such a difference to so many people's lives.
Each room is beautifully decorated with a personality all of its own. One room, well known in the series, is not surprisingly missing its most notorious guest. So this looks like the room where the Turkish fellow met his end.
I know, you're completely right, and then ended up being dragged around the corridor.
With privileged access to Highclere Castle, Viking offers a relaxed, immersive experience here. Every room, every display speaks volumes about the intriguing, enduring family history, including an extensive Egyptian exhibit where Highclere's kitchen used to be.
She's from about 3,500 years old or so.
The collection came from excavations by the 5th Earl of Carnarvon.
My great-grandfather, the 5th Earl, he was an extraordinary adventurer. He was such an inquisitive man. Of course, he teamed up with Howard Carter and then found the rock-cut steps down to Tutankhamun's tomb, and the two men together then opened up the archaeological find probably of all time, really.
If you've ever been intrigued by the lifestyles of the British aristocracy, join Viking for an exploration of Highclere Castle. We can't wait to share with you the glories of times gone by. Visit Highclere Castle on Viking's 3-night Oxford and Highclere Castle extension. Standing proud in the British countryside is Blenheim Palace. Built in the early 1700s, the palace was a gift from the people of Britain to honour the Duke of Marlborough for his leadership in the Battle of Blenheim. A symbol built to withstand the test of time. But in 1892, Blenheim was nearly lost when Charles, the 9th Duke, inherited a bankrupt family name. However, he saw a quick solution and arranged marriage with the American heiress Consuelo Vanderbilt. She was the daughter of American Railroad Baron Cornelius Vanderbilt, and her mother, Alva, had long worked to find her a place in British aristocracy. It's been said that Consuelo was kept under lock and key until the wedding to keep her from eloping with her secret fiancé, and that she wept beneath her veil, dreading her future. Today, as you stroll amid the splendid halls of Blenheim Palace, you can almost hear Consuelo pacing, her sighs echoing off the elegant decor as she struggled with her outwardly polite yet loveless marriage. Reminders of that turbulent era are still present. This great silver centerpiece was commissioned by the Duke of Marlborough to place on his dining table so that he did not have to look at his wife, Consuelo Vanderbilt. Consuelo also found this piece very useful because she didn't want to look at her husband either. She called it her cache-mari, hide my husband. Blenheim Palace was also home to another important American heiress, Jenny Jerome, who married Lord Randolph Churchill. Together they were parents to this young man, who the world came to know as Sir Winston Churchill. This is the room at Blenheim Palace where Winston Churchill was born. And over here we have his baby vest, a tiny vest for a great man. Blenheim Palace is an architectural masterpiece with landscaping by Capability Brown, who also created the gardens at Highclere Castle. Named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Blenheim's scale and diversity is magnificent. And should you happen to get locked into Blenheim Palace at night, you'll need this big key to get out, and it's a complicated procedure. Pull down, insert the key, lift the eagle's head, turn the key counterclockwise, which is counterintuitive, pull down the eagle's head, and open sesame. it, we're out. Come explore Blenheim Palace behind closed doors with Viking. Let us share with you this piece of noble British heritage. Visit Blenheim Palace on Viking's 3-night Oxford and Highclere Castle extension. Oxford has long been known as the city of dreaming spires, and there's plenty here to intrigue the imagination.
Karine!
Hello, Patrick. My friend Patrick loves sharing his insights into this historic British town. The University of Oxford is the oldest English-speaking university in the world. Within these hallowed halls, every building and every monument has a story.
He is the 3rd Earl of Pembroke. He sponsored the publication of the very first collected edition of Shakespeare's plays.
The University of Oxford is actually a collection of 38 individual colleges, with the Bodleian Library at its heart. And while the Bodleian is a working library for students and academics, it can be visited on a guided tour. The Ashmolean Museum is another of my favourites. It began as a gallery of portraits and curiosities, with a catalogue being written by the janitor. It soon became the model of the modern museum.
It was the first purpose-built museum anywhere in the world, and now it is the oldest museum in the world.
And it's free, I hear.
It's free now. It wasn't when the Ashmolean opened in 1683.
And what did it cost then?
Hard to say, because there was no entry charge. There was an exit charge instead.
So the longer you stayed inside, the more you paid on exit.
That's right.
Very clever.
The Eagle and Child pub, established in 1650, provides a look into the creative space of some of the world's greatest authors.
It was in this very room that C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien and a group of their friends, who were known as the Inklings, used to meet to talk about the books they were writing.
For a breath of fresh air, explore the Botanic Garden. Founded almost 400 years ago, it's home to more than 5,000 plant species. Or get out and experience the city's quaint waterways. I highly recommend an afternoon of quietly punting along. Oxford is a city of many delights. We can't wait to share them with you. Visit the University of Oxford on Viking's 3-night Oxford and Highclere Castle extension. Edinburgh is the medieval and neoclassical beautiful capital city of Scotland. The city is gracefully set amongst rocky hills and gracious green ribbons of parks. Experience the very best of Edinburgh by visiting the Royal Yacht Britannia. Drive to the nearby port of Leith with your local guide, which is home to the elegant Royal Yacht Britannia, once the floating home of the former Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, and the royal family. Over its 43 years of service, Britannia hosted important state and official occasions. Take time to explore the Queen's and the Duke of Edinburgh's cabins, impressive formal dining room, Admiral's suite, cruise quarters, and much more. Visit the Royal Yacht Britannia on Viking's 15-day British Isles Explorer journey. Visit the London home and private museum of world-renowned architect Sir John Soane during a private, after-hours visit. View his spectacular home, brimming with exquisite collections of marble sculptures, paintings and furniture arranged as they were until his death in 1837. Explore behind the doors of one of the most influential buildings in the history of architecture and admire several of Soane's drawings and watercolours as you gain insight into his brilliantly creative mind. Step inside the famous picture room, featuring paintings by Canaletto and Turner and the complete series of William Hogarth's A Rake's Progress. There's also the special surprise of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian sarcophagus. Visit the Sir John Soane Museum on Viking's 15-day British Collections of Ancient Egypt journey. Enjoy an exceptionally rare glimpse into Scottish royal history. After remaining closed for centuries, Broomhall House, the ancestral home of the Bruce clan, descended from King Robert the Bruce, will open its doors for your exclusive visit. The Bruce family has been at the heart of Scotland's history since the 12th century, when Robert the Bruce took the throne and secured Scottish independence from England at the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314. Broomhall is a significant building in the history of Scottish architecture and one of Scotland's grandest houses. It has been a private family home for more than 300 years and continues to be lived in, cherished and cared for by the family of King Robert the Bruce. A member of the Bruce family will greet you and take you on a fascinating journey through 1,000 years of Scottish history. Broomhall boasts many elegant furnishings, an internationally important collection of fine art, and priceless heirlooms, such as the Sword of State of King Robert the Bruce. The Broomhall collection documents everyday family life over several centuries and the widespread travels of the Bruce family. Visit Broomhall House on Viking's 15-day British Isles Explorer journey.